I think we heard it might be a bit of a longer session, but with the heat, I think brought it down to sort of the two main quarters. But you must have liked what you saw out there.
Yeah, we got 60 minutes out of the 80 that we wanted. So obviously we're coming to the end of a really huge workload. So we're really impressed with the way the boys are going. It was a really hard hit out. Obviously we started around sort of 10 o'clock this morning, and as the day goes on, it's getting a little bit hotter, and we know, as I said, the huge workload now. We've got to be really smart with what we're doing, and Coxie, our senior coach, made the call really quickly.
Fairly strong sort of first team, almost, if you want to call it that, in the team red. Lots of standouts, but good to see Millsy in particular off the halfback really controlling things.
Yeah, he stood out, didn't he? I think having a really strong pre-season. Obviously he's had his up and down the last few years, but we thought he looked really comfortable. He feels really good out there. He stiffens up behind the ball. So yeah, a really big positive. The red team obviously slightly better in terms of personnel and experience, but we thought the green team, they were outstanding as well. So a lot of really good young players showing their wares out there.
Who are the other standouts for you, Mark?
Yeah, I think watching Charlie Curnow, obviously big recruit, come in and do a really good job. But Joel Hemling was outstanding. Obviously, he's been here a few years now, more experienced player, but you can just see that, even Charlie himself said he's really hard to deal with. So we take great positive out of that. We think he's going really well. Our midfield's starting to hum. I mean, Isaac looked really strong through there. Gus Sheldrick, one of our younger players that we think we can get a lot out of this year, was really good. And of course, JJ, he was outstanding as well.
You touched on that midfield connection. How do you like seeing Isaac and you link up with Curnow?
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, if you think about Errol as well, that can go through there. We've got Chad, obviously, Rowbottom, and these type of players that are just have the ability to win the ball inside. And then if we can utilise our runners, whether it's Riley Bice behind the ball, whether we can have multiple players that can help us go inside 50 and give us really dangerous looks. I think Charlie's really enjoying that. So the connection we think we've worked on over the pre-season, and Lizard was outstanding with that as well. We've been doing a lot of work with him. So I think our forwards are getting good looks. Jeremy Laidler, our new forwards coach, has really coached really well around our patterns going inside 50 and what our forwards need to do, and we think that connection's starting to build.
How much have you experimented with Charlie? Is he sort of the main attraction in that forward line, or do you let him build a chemistry with McLean?
Yeah, I think naturally he has to build that chemistry with those other forwards, whether it's Joel Amati, who was in the other team today, but with a McLean. Logan was really good today as well. He had some really good moments. So they're players that he's not familiar with in terms of playing with, but we've had many opportunity to break down drills where they're purely working on their leading patterns, and like most clubs do, but he seems comfortable and he's happy at the moment.
Just talk a bit about the new... Oh, sorry, Jeff.
So do you like Curnow getting up the ground? There was a couple of times we sort of linked up with Heaney from sort of centre wing. Do you want him getting up high? Yeah,
look, without giving away too much, a lot of our players have different roles at different times, and Charlie knows that. So, whether he plays high at times, we've got other players that will fill in and play their role. But ideally, Charlie will look to be closer to goal, but he'll fall into structure and play the role at the time that's required.
Just about new rules, particularly the stand rule. How's that going, the new stand rule with everyone's got to freeze, basically, play statues? Yeah,
well, we had a few 50s today, which was great by the umpires. So they're really umpiring really hard, and obviously, the brief has been that they're going to really focus in on that. So for our players, we have to keep looking at that and making sure they understand why and the reasons perhaps they gave away a 50. So that'll be reviewed today when we go back and go have a look at what you've done here. You've either stepped off within the 5 metres and you've given away a 50 metres. So how's it affected? I think the players are adapted pretty easily, to be honest.
What sort of impact does it have on the defensive side if you've got 2 or 3 players who are out of the play?
Yeah, look, I think at times it can help you with your layers of defence. There's no doubt about that we can support him behind. If you're not close enough to man the mark, you can definitely help your layers of defence. But certainly if you're in that 5 metres, you need to make sure that you stand that mark, and the umpires today really umpired that strongly, and we had some 50s out of it, and we got some learnings.
And how are the rucks going with the ruck rules?
Yeah, they seem to be okay, to be honest. It was the first real time that they've had to really jump into each other today, and they look comfortable, they looked okay. It'll suit more than others, obviously, but I thought Brody's one of our best players out there today, especially his follow-up, which we know he's very strong at, but they seem to have adapted pretty well.
He looked incredibly fit.
He did, yeah. We're really impressed with where he's at, and he's come back super strong. He's looking to improve again, so we're really pleased with him.
with the guys through the midfield, we saw a lot of Errol, Isaac, Chad, and even Juzzy kind of rotate through that half-forward line. Is that something we can expect to see a fair bit of this year?
I think so. Again, like I said before, the flexibility of our group when we're healthy is one of our strengths. So, to have a McInerney who can go in the middle and play half forward and can flip out to the wing, as can Errol, as can Chad, creates chaos for teams, and we have to deal with other teams that can do that as well. So, like we have done most pre-season, this year it's been we've been really healthy, so we've been able to really connect with that. So we think there's flexibility in there with what they do, and that'll change week to week with what we want to do with what opposition we'll face.
We've seen a bit of Ned Bowman as well playing in that sort of almost back pocket, half back role. What have you liked about him so far this pre-season? Yeah, well, Ned's
shown that his ability in the air is really strong, and then he also can run and half back and be a real line breaker for us. So he's got a unique ability to be able to contest in the air, but also when it hits the ground, he's pretty dangerous. So we've really enjoyed watching his flexibility in that space. He's going to have to, really step up this year. Obviously, we've got some ageing players, and Dane Rampy's going really well, but we can't have him forever. So we think Ned Bowman's a player that's following closely in his footsteps and can give us some real steel behind the ball, but also can give us some great run.
Are you expecting Errol to play more minutes in the midfield or less this year?
It's one of those things that we'll weigh up week to week. Errol, again, can play multiple positions, and we'll put Errol where we think suits us going forward against different opposition. So it's hard to put a number on that or how that will look, but he's had plenty of looks inside, he's had plenty of looks on the wing and at half forward. So again, that'll be a week to week proposition.
Bit of talk about wanting to move the ball a bit faster this year. Did you see what you wanted to see out there today?
Yeah, look, we think at times we need to go in and out of modes, like most teams. Are we looking to go faster? I wouldn't say that we've changed that a hell of a lot. We are a good kicking team. There's no doubt about that, but we need to make sure that we train both modes, whether that's slow play, whether that's fast play. And we've had a good mixture of both this year, and we'll see where that goes in the next few weeks. But we've certainly been able to get a lot of workload both modes of the game, and we'll keep addressing that as we go.
Just on a few guys.
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you. You alluded to some players either playing different roles. Has that been necessary with the change of personnel or just off the back of last season's performance?
Look, I just think we've had multiple roles because we have players that can do it. Yes, we had a lot of injuries last year, and there's some few unfortunate ones and ones you can't help. But again, I think Coxie and the coaching team have identified that we have players that can play a lot of different positions, and we need to find out where their strengths are, where they can help us in the team, and we've given them a look at that for most of the pre-season. So I think you can tinker around with it this time of year. We'll settle that in the next couple of weeks, and then you'll see what we really want to do come round zero.
Just on a few of the guys who didn't play today, obviously Paps is still working his way back. Jesse Detoli, those guys still progressing well in terms of being hopefully available for selection.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse Detoli is just a deload at the moment. He's had a really good pre-season. Off the back of a pretty serious injury last year, he's completed everything. Really impressed with the way he's gone in a couple of smaller intra-club games and training. And as I said, it's been a big workload, so we deloaded him for this game today, which is really smart. Papley's going extremely well. Trained with the VFL this morning, showed no signs. From all reports, he was flying around and he was up and about. So we're really comfortable where everyone is at the moment.
Have you guys already started tinkering or locking down on maybe a game plan for that pre-season match against the two Brothers? Was that too far away?
Yeah, it's one of those things that we have to make sure that it's all about at the moment for us. There's a little bit of game plan stuff, but there's also making sure that we're getting enough time into our players and how that looks going forward. We've got those 2 games against the Bulldogs and Giants. Unique part of this is we can be flexible. We've got more players to choose from. We can play more players. So it'll be more about getting the minutes into certain players that we need to make sure that everyone is primed and ready to go for round zero. Game plan wise, there'll be little parts of it that we'll put out there, but to be honest, we'd like to keep that on the wraps until round zero and let's just get the minutes into our players.